I'm sorry, but I cannot think of any nice way to say this. The world today is totally populated by, what can I say, idiots. There are rare exceptions, but I'm talking 1 in a million exceptions. On the whole, something is terribly, terribly wrong universally. In this video, I'll be talking about the question of whether there is a God. No specifics about exactly who he, she, or it is, or about what he, she, or it expects of us. Just, is there some kind of creative intelligence behind the universe as we know it? Now, do you see what I have here? A simple example of the millions of flowers that blossom and die every day around the world. Now, I cannot believe how many cretins out there will tell you that there is no scientific basis for thinking that some kind of intelligence created this little flower, much less the universe. No evidence, they say. No evidence! Who do they think they're kidding? By the way, I don't use terms like idiots or cretins in what I'm saying now just to insult people. I'm talking about real, measurable stupidity. I have no doubt that I could find seriously retarded individuals who can see the issues better than what these people see them. And I'm not just saying this about atheists, although they do seem to be the ones with the most inflated opinions of their intelligence. There are a lot of drongos on the other side of the fence, and I have to include myself in that lot. We have for many years caved in to the argument that no one can prove there's a God. I used to say, yeah, I can see. God's invisible. I can't reach out and touch him. It's all about faith, and you can't prove faith. So I accept it has nothing to do with scientific observation. Cretin, idiot, drongo me. What I should have said is that we can't make people believe the overwhelming evidence, but we can prove it. I mean, if we can't prove there's an intelligent creator of some sort behind the amazing universe in which we live, then goodness gracious, what can we prove? Just because someone refuses to believe the evidence doesn't mean that you haven't proven something. You might as well say that we can't prove there's such a thing as radioactivity, because some people choose not to believe the evidence. We can't prove that parallel lines never meet. We can't prove that smoking causes cancer, or that the world is round. It's all about faith. And believe me, science does not limit itself to things you can see and touch either. Can you see gravity? No, of course not. All you can see is evidence that gravity exists. The whole world would laugh at anyone who said the Holocaust never happened just because they personally did not experience it. Such people obviously choose to be ignorant. They choose to ignore the evidence. And that is exactly what we do when we say that no one can prove that God exists. We choose to ignore the evidence. I'm going to use another illustration here. Imagine if I said, obesity is good for you. The fatter you are, the longer you will live. There's no link between being overweight and your chances of suffering from heart disease. Stupid, isn't it? Flies in the face of all the evidence. But this is not even 1/1,000,000th as stupid as saying that the entire universe appeared out of nothing from something that some scientist decided to call a Big Bang. Big Bang? How laughable! Even the name sounds like a joke. A bunch of clowns laughing at what must be the stupidest fairy tale in the history of the world and pretending that they have, quote, scientific evidence for it. They must secretly crack up at how far-fetched it is and yet how easy it was to get the rest of the world to take it seriously. A few years ago, a space probe called the Planck satellite discovered that there is an axis around which the entire universe revolves. And at the center of that axis is our solar system, if not Earth itself. Against all odds, this discovery supports the hypothesis that the entire universe may have been put out there just for us, just for God's special creation. The people on this tiny little planet that we call Earth. What a wonderful and inspiring discovery. We're not just insignificant specks in an infinite soup of atoms and molecules. Someone put all of this here, especially for us. So do you know what they called this discovery? This discovery about the entire universe revolving around our solar system? They called it the axis of evil. Why? Why call any discovery evil? They call it evil because for them, the most evil thing they could possibly imagine would be evidence that the whole universe was brought into existence by an intelligence which has, or at least wants to have, a very special relationship with the people here on this planet that we call Earth. Such a discovery would undo their many years of hard work to prove that life on Earth was just an accident in the midst of chaos, that an intelligent, loving, and creative God does not exist. Axis of evil, my foot. It's the most wonderful and hopeful discovery in the history of science. Now, look at this. It's one cell. Just one tiny cell. Not from some complex organism. It's from a plant. Just your average garden variety plant. All the scientists in the world, working for 100 years, could not start with a bunch of simple elements and construct such a living cell. Even in 1,000,000 years, they could not do it. Let 1,000,000 scientists work for 1,000,000,000 years, making as many Big Bangs as they can imagine, and see if they can create just one little hydrogen atom out of nothing. I'm not talking about playing around with something that already exists in an attempt to alter its atomic composition. I'm talking about Big Banging something out of nothing. The stuff they try to tell us happens without any effort on our part. Big Bang just one atom, for starters. You know, show that at least little bangs can happen every now and then by helping one or two along. We human beings act like we're gods if we can cut a piece of one plant or a piece of one animal and stick it next to a cut in another plant or another animal and watch it grow together. Grafting, we call it, or transplanting. All we do is cut and paste, and we call ourselves pioneers. Totally laughable. We can play games like that with atoms and molecules, genes, strips of DNA and skin and organs, and still, all we're really doing is playing with someone else's Lego set. We cannot truly create anything. Not even a single atom. And certainly no new life. Not all of the scientists on Earth can do that. God does, and He has done all the work for us. He made all of the pieces that we play with, and then we have the audacity to say, "But you can't prove there's a God." Why, there's more proof that God exists than there is that these stupid scientists exist. Now take a look at this bottle of Coke. Nothing complicated about it. No complex membranes, no mechanical moving pieces, not a single sign of life, just a simple bottle of Coke. Mostly water, a bit of plastic, some dyes, and a few chemicals to add flavor. I found it lying in my front yard this morning. My neighbor says someone obviously made it and someone else must have left it there overnight. But I say he has no evidence for that. I choose to believe that what happened overnight was just one of trillions of little bangs that could very easily have made a simple bottle of Coke. Perhaps as practice for making a cell or a planet or something more complicated later on. Can you see how stupid my argument would be? For me to say that my neighbor has no evidence that someone made it or put it there, and for me to counter that evidence with a claim that the Coke made itself. The bottle, for goodness sakes, is the evidence. It didn't just make itself. They would lock me up if I started seriously arguing against the obvious, dead-set certain evidence, which is that someone was responsible for that bottle's existence, including everything in it. The smallest child would see the good sense in saying that the bottle is evidence of a bottler. And the same child could see that anyone arguing otherwise is just talking nonsense. So many scientists ask us to believe them when they say that energy, matter, life, and human intelligence all came from nothing, without any intelligent force directing the process. Now, I should explain my agenda here. I'm not interested in a public debate to see who can get the most people to support their position. There are already too many people doing that. Besides, my main contention is that the debate has already been lost. Everyone in the audience and on the stage, whether professing to believe or not, is really on the same side. They're all committed to not acknowledging the role of the Creator. They just express their rebellion in different ways. Religious people show no more evidence than atheists that they recognize the authority of the Creator of the universe to dictate what they do with their own private lives. I deal with that bit of idiocy in a few other videos on this channel, so I won't say more about that for now. Anyway, I'm here for a different reason than to take sides in what is really a pointless argument. As I understand it, our Creator is reaching the end of his tether with the horrible attitude that people on this planet have about him. Argue all you like about what he specifically wants from us, but don't you dare question his existence and then expect him to ignore your blasphemy. Every atom in the universe cries out in support of the Creator's existence, and every atom in the universe damns our exaggerated assumptions about human intelligence. We are all retards when it comes to comparisons between us and our Creator. That is my message from the Creator and to the inhabitants of this planet. Repent of your disbelief and fall on your faces in deep sorrow for the way you have wasted the precious gifts that He has given you. Do that, or face the unmitigated wrath of God in the very near future. That's all I've got to say for now.
Where did you come from? And where will you end when you're gone? Don't be so wrong to assume that you already know. Sometimes we just have to admit we don't know how the pieces fit. Are you strong enough to confess that you're weak? 'Cause any one of us can see there's more to life than you and me. What will it take for us to believe? Praises be to the one who made us from nothing. Praises be to the one who made us from nothing, from nothing. Remember to when you're asleep. How does your heart beat? How much of your life can don't know how the pieces fit. Are you strong enough to confess that you're weak? 'Cause any one of us can see there's more to life than you and me. What will it take for us to believe?